And then savoir-faire, it's sharp and smart. He has to call upon all his staying qualities, and he's doing so. Here's Andalus coming after him. Sharp and smart in front. Andalus, sharp and smart, wins the derby.
Welcome to Bet Doctor, behind the curtain look at how pro punters operate. I'm your host, Scoot. I'm remote. I'm in Bali. It's the Bet Doctor Bali office. But I'm joined by the boys in Melbourne, DK and Nico. How are you guys?
Well, the hoodies are on today, Scoot. We're bit tropical down here, but not too good. But anyway, I had a bit fresh this morning, wasn't it, Nico? But I know about the engine's about to start revving around the corner. So Grand Prix, that's something we got down here. So we're not talking about the weather. We got great events, and the Grand Prix is just another one. It's kicking off today. But
busy, isn't it?
Yeah,
everything's sort of happening.
They're marching past the office, always straight out to the track now. People all dressed up in their gear and everything. So yeah, and then a huge weekend of racing, Nico. So big couple of weekends with Easter next weekend as well. So how are you travelling?
Not too bad. Not too bad a day yesterday out at Sounddown. We didn't sort of land a blow, but we'll move on. Get on to Bendigo this Saturday, which the jockey ranks are thin at Bendigo. I'm going to be interested to see who's riding an Ararat, because it seems like there's a lot of country jockeys at Bendigo already, with the sort of falls we've had with a few jockeys on the sidelines, and then a lot of probably the better jockeys heading to Sydney as well. Stackhouse probably has the best book at Bendigo, so it could be a big day for him, big day for Harry Coffey and those kind of riders. Good opportunities.
Yeah, they're all good riders, aren't they? And it is a provincial. I mean, it's not provincial quality, but it's a provincial venue.
Yep.
So lesser riders like that do get a chance, especially with the championships on. But having said that, I mean that they're as good as fields across the board as you'd ever see at one of these non-metropolitan venues.
No, Ripper card. Keen to get out there.
Looks an absolute betting card. Just on the jockeys one, I think it's been, I guess, through the press a fair bit in the last couple of weeks. B. Shin, I notice from over here, he's gone positive with the sleeping tablet. There's a massive pushback from the jockeys, and I saw an interview with Mick Kent on racing.com with Terry Bailey, and he highlighted a couple of the big issues. I know RV are desperately keen to get Saturday and Sunday night racing in, but I think they're going to have to make way for some other racing, maybe Mondays and Tuesdays, get the Lemonade, DK, and they just seem to need more apprentices, more track riders, and more stewards, more staff across the boards, according to Mick Kent. Gee, I tell you what, if you've got a spare 30 minutes, head to racing.com and find the interview with Mick Kent and Terry Bailey. It's definitely worth a listen. Gee, he should nearly be running the show at RV, I would have thought. He'd be a great CEO of Racing Victoria, Mick Kent, I would have thought, if they could afford to pay him, DK.
And he's very measured. Like, it's all thought. He doesn't, a lot of these old draconian trainers, and just they see a tweet and they jump straight in, and that old, you don't think before you press the send button on your tweets, and emotional tweet. He's very measured. He he's very well versed in the sport. He's an elder statesman now, but and the stuff I tuned in there was the stuff about the jump outs and what we spoke about last week with the riders, and he's 100% sure paid that they should all be trials. The riders should be paid. Jumps jockeys, picnic riders, those second tier, third tier riders who don't get a lot of rides, pay them for the jump outs. It relieves the jockeys of pressure to having to ride jump outs. But that was just one part of it. But then they spoke about there's the training hours and things like that, staffing shortages. But did you catch any of it, Nico?
Yeah, I did listen in, and I thought he made a lot of good points, sort of especially with the jump outs. And I think the apprentice jockey point's definitely a big point, because, if some of those riders don't make the cut as jockeys, you're always going to have them as track riders and the like, which is always, every trainer you hear is desperate for track riders and ground staff and the like. So,
and they could make it they could make it attractive. They can make a good living. He said $85 a jump out, $85 a trial.
Well, if you did 10, jump outs or trials at Cranbourne, and then you did 5 at Pakenham the next day, and you rode a bit of work as well.
You rode a bit of work. They get 20 a horse for work or something, don't they? Something like that.
About that, I think so.
That. They can make it a good living. They can make $1,500, $2,000 a week just being a track work rider, or a jump out rider. So he was. They have to do something, and they got to do this. Is as we said, tipping points a lot in this, but it's a tipping point for the industry as far as staff goes, staffing shortages and attracting new people to the races, and the starting times isn't a whole issue again. But
I think it's hard for staff, like racing sort of, if you're a ground staff, you don't get paid that well. Like
that's the other.
You could get the same work
you know that. I saw a guy replied to one of the Andrew Jones said, I was a foreman at a stable, and I left because of how poorly paid I was for the hours I had to do and what the lifestyle was.
You have to get up at sort of Oh, like even if you're not from like a big
You still got
stable.
to get up at 3 in the morning, 3:30.
And even if you're working at a stable that doesn't get up that early, you're still up at 5:36. Like even if they're not going to the track that early or have their own sort of private properties, and that's still very early for pretty much minimum wage for a lot of them.
And the split shift. You know, you got to come back. You go home at 10:30. You got to be back there at 2:30 or 4:30 or 5 o'clock to do the afternoons. Like it's, so
as someone who's done it, it's not very appealing. Like it's not appealing at all. So I think that's probably one thing. If they should look at more is upping that sort of wage to make people want to do it, because no one's going to want to do it for the wages they're doing now. Like it's just it's the absolute people that love the sport and the horses. You're not going to attract anyone else.
And as I said, to the time now, because they have got the war chest, they've got lots and lots of money in the bank to do things at the moment, from the COVID sugar hit and the taxing the bookies and things like that, and et cetera now. So if they want to do a big riders academy and things like that and invest, now's the time to do it.
Gee, I might have to lay off the bintangs, drop 10 kilos and become a track work rider. 100K for putting a couple around every morning sounds delicious. And have a couple of bets, knock off a couple of DK's prices after I finish track work at 7:30. Couldn't think of anything better.
Drop 10 kilos, yeah. Well, I'd need to drop a bit more than that. Well, I know what you can get around here. They'd put you on at 75 or something, would they, Nico?
Yeah, maybe 70. 70 might be right.
Well, I only got 12 to go, so a couple of bintangs and no... Cycling pig, I'll be right.
While it's in my head, I told the story about Reese Wheeler last week, my mate Reese, right? He was a jockey. And the day I had to drive him to Swanhill, he had 2 rides, right? One got scratched. And he rang the other trainer, and the other trainer said, "Get your ass up here, you're not getting off my horse." Guess who that trainer was? It came to me during the week when I was going for a walk.
Who?
Your old man.
Was it?
Dave Noonan. You're not getting off this horse. You committed to ride it. You get yourself up here all the way. One ride. 3.5 hours I had to drive him. One ride. Sold around a 20-1 chance or something.
It's a good boss, isn't he?
It was Dave Noonan. So just while it came to my mind, I had to tell that story.
I can't remember us training too many winners at Swanhill, so I don't reckon it would have won.
Hard taskmaster. Boys, little hat tip. Last week you're on fire, DK. Your watch at Pakenham was an easy one. Nico at Money Valley. Very good there with Imperatives and Brave Me. Just to tragedy, so many scratchings. Cascadian, the 7-day backup, Pearl, and even Donny, the scoreboard. So he's back in business. Old Bobby Shiraz, probably a really good ride there. And speaking of good rides, you're all over it again, DK. Another Pearl, Goldman, Childs, Waterhouse, straight to the front. This horse looks a real progressive stayer and was pretty good.
Well, it's good that you give out the Pearls on the Thursday and then they come true on the Saturday, didn't they? The backup out of the fast run race, like anything can back up out of a walk, barrier trial, count at home. But the fact that he backed up out of a proper race, it shows what great order he came out of it. He must have come out of it bouncing out of his skin, and he was a proven backup horse, which is just another tick. And Jay Childs, the Jay Childs go Waterhouse. There was Sat at Goldman, then we had another one yesterday. Didn't Victorosa for something yesterday. Nico, same thing, rinse repeat. So I did because I was prepared this time. So I have got out the stats, Scoot. So he's Gay at 23 from 81 overall lately at 30, going about 30% and 30% pot. But in March, recency, as I said, it was pretty recent, 8 from 17. 8 from 17. 7 of them have led. The other one was that Butch Cassidy, which it looked for the lead and something crossed it and he quickly popped off and there was $1.50 just set outside the leader and pissed in. So, yeah, 8 from 17, 7 leaders and 1 sat outside the lead. So, that's how well he's going. And then he got the big rap from Gay. But, I mean, a bloke said to me straight after the race, sent me a message, how good a ride, how good was he rating that tempo on the Goldman, on that sort of horse. And he got it spot on. And you know how you got it spot on? Just think how Goldman was going after the line.
Oh, put like 5 lengths on him.
Couldn't stop it.
Yeah. Could be
reminded me of that horse we tipped in the Melbourne Cup last year, whatever it was. Did the same thing. I noticed that horse. Who was that horse? Tio rode it.
Floating Artist.
Floating Artist. Yeah. I mean, he's a bit different style of horse, but to be that, can't pull it up after the line. Ooh. So, Scoot, no.
Yeah, well, he led at a pretty solid tempo throughout the race, and he still ran the second fastest last 200 of the race. Solcombe was quicker home, but you look through the line and he's put 5 on him and sort of, I even watched it live and watched it a bit further, sort of as he went to the back straight, and he just kept getting further in front.
So he just looks like Melbourne Cup.
He just looks like he has a huge sort of aerobic capacity, doesn't he? He just looks like keep going.
Be a twilight payment, go in the cup or something like that, up the front, and see you later.
Catch me if you can. Well, Matty Stewart from 927's declared it, so it is March, and we've got a little bit of water under the bridge. So
these blokes who can get on in the future, It's good for them. Get on in the futures. Yeah, see how we try getting on in the futures. Not even worth it.
8 months of sweating or 7 months of sweating.
Yeah,
I think
for getting minimum bet on.
Rather bet today at Newcastle. Sydney, speaking of North Korean racing, I'd nearly say that the Derby, Doncaster, TJ Size, and just the field. I love the field at Bendigo. I think you hit the nail on the head, DK, but I think this Randwick field's probably one of the best days racing, if not in Australia, but it'd go toe-to-toe with any race day in the world, I would have thought.
The championships?
Day one. This day one's an absolute belter.
The beauty, yeah. Still got as good as Cup Week, but championships is runs a not bad. A length off it. Second placing is the next best thing in Australian racing, but still Cup Week still stands supreme.
Like a standalone day, it is probably the best day.
Yeah, it's up there with Super Saturday here, but probably the best day. 10 million. Well, just 10 million in prize money over those 5 races.
And there's so many good talking points out of it. Like, Nature Strip trying to win 4, Sharp and Smart, Cylinder. There's just so many great stories to potentially come out of those races.
Doncaster. What about the Doncaster? The big 24-horse handicap and so many good horses in it.
Terrific race. Like, you can make a case for nearly everything in the Doncaster if they bought their best. Like, it's a terrific race and
you get
a bit of a true handicap too.
And they get the blend of imports in as well just to complement it. So no, it's good. No. Yeah, we have fun, a bit of fun with PVL at times, and what's doing up there. But this is one of the pop-up races, the Bondi and the Gong and all this crap. But what he's done here is, we all agree, great stuff.
Well, I don't think you could probably credit him for a little bit, I guess. But Victoria haven't really gone after this race day, and I think this is what the old Derby Day in Victoria in the springtime used to be. But it's now depleted and not couldn't go toe-to-toe Derby Day against a day like this, I would have thought. But on today's show, to move along slightly, Donny's back for his best at Doomben. I think he's going to venture into Randwick as well. So he's starting to go a little toe-to-toe with DK. I'm not sure where these aggressions come from the Don, but I think because DK's fishing into his favourites market, Donny doesn't like it. So he's starting to throw a couple back over the fence. Walt, I'll tell you what, he was pretty angry with Mautai. Sounded like a load-up job, and it was a sleepy ride, I think, from Ryan Maloney. So no luck last week with a couple of Waltz, and even Diamond was a quiet ride. And Nico, Bendigo, it's going to be a cracking card, as you said. Yeah, I reckon you're back in the zone a little bit, and I sort of like you more at Bendigo as well. Just got to shake this Flemington. I guess it's like a hoodoo or a curse. I think it's self-imposed, really. But good to see that TopSport Steamers have started to break the shackles there. Sparkle was a good winner. The Japanese form was too strong in the benchmark, $88. The early shoppers for the TopSport Steamers. She's going good.
Yeah.
And she very good rider of leaders as well. That horse.
But she ran a double at Moonee Valley, and then she rode at least
I think
one
a
winner
while ago when she came on the scene as a 3 kilo. Did we give her a good rap?
We did, and then she kind of fell off the face of the earth.
Well, because she was tied up in the Mornington B&B
Seems
stuff.
like she just got her momentum back from that now. Like, it's really just starting to kick along for it. She is a great front-running jockey, for sure.
Yeah, but the big camps are putting her on, so that's always a good leg up in it.
She flew under the radar with that morning. She's sort of like the fourth that no one really speaks of. Speaking of comedy, the Comics Lounge, Melbourne's home of comedy, Errol Street in North Melbourne. Make sure you check it out. The Comedy Festival is just around the corner, so no doubt DK will be tugging my coat for a couple of freebies for the Comics Lounge. He'll be taking everyone there, so
make sure about that. The missus is dragging me along. The Comedy Festival starts this week, Scoop.
Make sure you're betting with TopSport this weekend. Odds to 5K in the big Group 1, so if you want to have a big swing in any of the big races, make sure you check out TopSport. Their new app and mobile site is terrific. And the reskin, they've done a great job there. So Australian owned and operated. So give the Millhands a crack, and they'll be giving us a crack too with our Punters Club for the US Masters. So I think Top Rope's going to steer the ship there. So you can buy shares $50 to $1,000 if you want Nick Tedeschi and a couple of boys to steer the golf bets. So you've got no idea about golf or little or limited, and you want action across not just the winners market. We'll be running a Punters Club with TopSport. They're the only guys that have the canasters to take us on when we blast in. But Bendigo on Saturday, we've spoken about a little bit, and should be good conditions out there. Let's get straight into race 4. Nico's found one here. Sing for Peace is $2.25 favourite here. Mr. French, $5. Caboche, $6.50. Wahani Teo, $7. Sula Nuage is $9. St. Eustace, $17. Long Arm, God, a horse that I just keep backing at big odds. It does absolutely diddly squat, $19. Mimi's Award, $19. And Sort of Boy, $31. repo we're going to have a look at here is Caboche. This is one of Walt's horses, Nico.
Yeah, he's not the most prolific winner, Caboche. He's only had 2 wins in his career, but this was a very fast run race up there in Sydney sort of 3 weeks ago. It's actually been a bit of form came out of this race. This horse, it's about to hit the lead, or both of them actually, in the yellow and the purple. Major Beal and Stroke Alike both ran well on the Metallic out of this. And this horse just kind of whacks away in behind him. Doesn't do heaps here, but I think this is a bit of a drop back in class. So Winnow Mania is sort of, I think, group class competitive in the staying ranks, and he just looked like a horse, Caboche, there in the white and blue that needed a bit further in the old Colding colours there. You look at his form at 2,400 metres or above, which is what this distance is at. His last 2,400 metre run, he ran third to Port Phillip and Kissinger, which is, Port Phillip come out and ran second in the Bendigo Cup to High Motion, ran third in the Melbourne Cup. Kissinger won the Pakenham Cup the start after. And then he ran third to White Marlin at Flemington. And you go back prior, he ran third in the Queensland Derby at 2,400. So I think that's probably a good lead to where his true ability lies, and that's at this distance at 2,400. And I think he's a bit better on the dry tracks too. His race because he's a horse in Sydney, he's raced sort of on soft and wet ground and raced well. But I feel like his better form might be on this dry ground. So sort of good 4, soft 5 there on Saturday at Bendigo. 4th up, Stackhouse on, who's going to be a big go-to for the meeting. I thought he could beat this favourite, Sing for Peace, who you might know a bit about, DK, as well.
Do.
He just hits a big flat spot in his races. He won that day at Caulfield over 2,500 metres, beating, pretty sure, T-Waters.
I remember that. That was when Craig was on.
He's gone.
Yeah, and then he picked himself up.
I think I took 41 on the corner and run because he come back again, but he was absolutely gone, like at the 600. And then, he did that in a few of his earlier runs too, where he just has no change-up speed. Talia from 4. I think she's just going to have to ride him really well to get him through that flat spot. I think he's the most talented horse in the race, but he's just learning a bit, and she's all right, who knows the horse well, winning on him last start, but I just query whether you want to be sort of diving into $2.35 him, given he's not the finished product, and he could get sort of hitting that flat spot and might need a bit of luck from the draw. So I think Caboche at $6.50, if you had to back him each way, I think you wouldn't miss, but $6.50, bit of D-Day for him, but this looks an easier race as he's faced recently in his 2,400 metre form. He's very good.
You love a mile and a half race, don't you, Nico? Huh?
They just they can be a bit easier to work out than a few other races.
Yeah, true. Yeah, if you're looking for when you've got to narrow down for a best bet and stuff like that, picking.
I just thought $6.50 for a horse that's, at his best. You look at that horse form over 2,400. It's pretty rock solid. And Stackhouse is a big go-to for the meeting, so it's got a good combination.
Look at Stackhouse versus Taylor. Which side you want to be on there.
Mr. French will lead him up. He'll give a sight. Wahine Tower's good enough at her best, but she's had a big gap between runs now and was pretty plain last start. So, a number here at Bendigo. So hopefully we can get it off to a good start there in race 4.
I can see myself just having something small on long arm, getting out to 2,400, but my patience is sort of wearing thin.
That'll be a mental health bet for you, mate. A mental health bet. You can't drop off at 20s and watch them win and not have a drink on it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Threatened, but I can see Nico's angle here, and the horse has got ability. Right, let's have a look at race 7. Just market only here for the Bendigo Guineas, but we'll cover it. Wow, it's come up a strong addition. I would have thought My Bella May's favourite 550, Marble Arch 550, It Is Me 6, The Fortune Teller 9, Elkington Road 11, Meredith $12, running by 26 to 12, which is a bigger move. Sorrel Rising $14, King's Consort $18, Waltz on by 18, and then DK, the one named after you, mate, $26, and Lethal Thoughts 26, and Kong Try 31. Look at that market. Does anything to you fancy, Nico, at all? But it looks a deep race.
It was. I mean, what was it? Sleep? Who put the poop blind? The bloke put of the blind Freddie put the price up on Rudius, did he? Like, how could it go up $26 off winning the other day? Like, seriously. It beat, I know the other thing had no luck, though it is at me, but still. How could you put up 126 and 1 4 to 1 or something?
Yeah, there's been a bit of change in this market because they went up 280 or 260 all in, Marble Arch, and now she's 550.
Yeah, it didn't run any time, especially the other day, It gets up against good horses here, it's stepping up.
I had an early bet here. I thought, $26 looks over, and I didn't pull the trigger because I didn't know if he'd run, and that was the Fortune Teller. He's probably good enough to win a race like this at his best, but he's double accepted. So My Bella May, I'd question her at 1,400. Probably the best horse in the race. Like, her perf form's very good. She was okay the other day in a solid fillies race here in Melbourne, but 14 might see her out.
1,600. 1,600.
Is it 16, is it?
16, so she's going to be struggling.
Guineas, 16.
Really? I thought it was always 14 this race.
No.
Maybe they've changed it. Well, she's got none at 1,600 then. So that's
There you go. Now we're glad. See, there it is.
Oh, I'd be kicking up big for the Fortune Teller and Elkington Road then at 1,600 because they're the two horses that are proven at the distance. Like they both ran well on the Caulfield Guineas. Everyone's sort of saying, oh, the Guineas is suspect. Most of the format's been all right. And now you're in a Bendigo Guineas, what, $9 and $11 coming out of the Hot Run Australian Guineas. It looks solid enough form, both third up, I think. So yeah, they'd interest if they're there. This isn't me. I kind of like him as a horse. Saw him in the yard last start and thought he just looked 6 months away. Like I think he's got stacks of ability. And hearing what Daniel Bowman said on him on the radio, like sounds like he's really got an opinion of the horse. He just may be still 6 months away looking at him.
Tier was something licked last start. Really
moral beat.
Absolute moral beat. And I just love to see Elkington Road just go straight to the front, but I'm not sure if that's something J Mott would do, but definitely would be taking $11 if I knew he was going to lead, and maybe at one for the in players once the market sort of goes live. If that horse bounded to the front, I think that it'd be hard to catch if they rated him all right. Interesting one running by from Mar Eustace camp. Was that just a bit of a blowout behind Benedetta last time, Nico? Any mail there on the SEMA horse? That looks like it's got ability running by, but she got run off its legs up the straight at Flemington.
Yeah, I know they think she has some ability, but yeah, just whether she's ready for the jump up in trip. Yeah, Rise is saying 1,400 for Bendigo Guineas, so I don't know. Maybe there's some sort of
Who's saying a mile? What's happening over there in Bali?
Glitch in the system.
Is it? Well, I'm looking at TopSport website. It looks like it's a mile.
I trust Riser, so maybe they've given the B set to all the bookies and said mile race, and they've got the 14. I don't know, but it's usually 1,400. So
it's 1,400. .com's 1,400.
Well, I'm looking at TopSport's website, 1,600 metres. So,
geez.
So to tell you what, dirty data. I know Racing.com have got bad sectionals, but I'll have to tug Tristan's coat and see what's going on with they're trying to trick the punt at 1,600 metres.
Before we move on, just back on Meridius, I got the Pearl for this week. Now, I'll call it going average or whatever, if someone's going average and it's only going fair. But Lloyd Kennewell, flying, in-form camp.
It's been going well for a while, Kennewell.
Yeah, well, when he was going grubby, I was happy to call him saying he was going grubby. So I'm saying, geez, Kennewell, his horses are flying.
More so in Adelaide, DK? I noticed he's taken a couple over there.
Well, he's done a couple of hit and run raids over there because I think, but no, he's just across the board. Even in, I was in town in like Meridius, his horse he's taken over there. Even in maidens and things, and so no, his horses are going good. Lloyd Kennewell.
Yeah, I can't believe you're saying that, but 10 degrees, his name's starting to pop up a fair bit. Bendigo Race 9 is the next one we're going to have a look at, and the favourite here is my numero uno, set $3.70. $7.50 Do Your Punk, Build the Box at $9, Sacred Palace 10, Outback Action 10, 11 Mammogram by UNC.
Mammogram.
$13 Starry Legend 14, Wolflands 14, and Sessions Road $15. I only just gone 7 o'clock. I haven't had out of coffee yet, TK. I'm absolutely battling here. That's the market. Blesser is $17 and Tycho Hummer is $21. The replay we're going to have a look at here is my numero uno.
Sitting fourth here in the sort of brown and yellow colours. This was a big run first up. He runs the second fastest last 600 a day, second fastest last 4, and fifth fastest last 2 of the meeting on All-Star Mile Day against some pretty solid horses at their best, Midwest and sort of Scissor Step in behind him. I think the Midwest form is pretty strong for a race like this. Midwest had form around Maria Mia, who won the Galaxy, and this horse was just savaging the line late. He just looks like a horse who wants 1,200 or wants a bit further. He's won over 1,200 metres, and he gets to 11 here. He draws barrier 3, and he's just a winner. He's just a line finder. This horse, he just always finds a line in his runs. So I thought if you looked outside of him, this race is probably a bit of a raffle, but I think you could probably stamp him here as the horse to beat, and he's nearly $4. So I thought he's probably over the odds, to be honest.
Always good when you find an N Ryan horse, isn't it?
Yep.
No problems there. A little bit extra on.
J Mott, he's one of our men. J Mott, he gets the job done for you when you need it.
Geez, the horse ran really well, but he was on Numerian. Numerian's run enormous there on the weekend. And he was on it for J Mott gives him every chance, J Mott.
Yeah, I thought this horse would just probably camp him behind the speed. He might need a little bit of luck from barrier 3, just sort of weaving his way through, but once he finds a gap or sort of gets in clear momentum, as we saw last day, he just finds a line, this horse. You go back to his win at Moonee Valley back in sort of 2021. That was probably when we saw the best of him. He beat a Thalric, Generation and Taunting. Those horses have all gone on to sort of open or group class and been highly competitive, and he's still in a benchmark 84 and beat them all. So I think he's at that level. He just hasn't raced as much as them since. So second up here looks ready to fire, I would have thought, from the Ryan camp.
Do Your Punk's got to be in the race, doesn't it? It gets Carleen off, Stacky on, and it's form's huge, isn't it? Behind horses like Morrissey, Nemeth, and Savannah Clare.
Yeah, I thought him, Bill the Box, I don't know if he come up sort of last, these first 2 runs. He's jumped out really well since. Sacred Palace, even this Buoyancy, won a recent jump out at Bendigo, and a bit of a deadly camp when they put the money on the Enright stable in hometown. So I thought if you looked away from the favourite, you could definitely find some angles, but I do think he's just the best horse in this race, and the return run was enormous. So if you wanted to look away from him, there's definitely some horses that you could go looking for, but it just looks his race to lose, I would have thought.
Or launch my numero uno, and maybe save exactor, Do Your Punk. DK, go.
If just a couple early in the program, Nico, a lot of people will be interested in just very quickly. These are without notice, but you would have had a look at them. People will be looking for their multis and things and coming into my numero uno. Elation, how do you think what do you say, had a look at his trials?
I look at his trials. I think he could have jumped out better.
Yep.
But he's jumped out a bit like a 1,400 metre horse. He's 1,400 metres first up. I was nearly going to tip Imperial Lad. He gets 50 kilos. You'll probably find the lead from barrier number 1. It can be a day where they can be hard to run down. He's an $9.50 now. He's $7 earlier. So he looks the easiest each way bet you'll set. He just has to run a place at 245. So I could definitely come into him. But,
beautiful. There's you. Yeah, they come into him.
I wouldn't be shocked if Elation got beat there. I think he's a horse with some talent, but
he's got that.
You look through his data and his ratings and what he's actually beat. It's not through the roof. Like he might only just be this class. So 235 is probably a little short for mine.
And what about my filly, Queen Air? She looked hard to beat. The market says she's obviously going to be hard to beat. Yeah.
You couldn't really be tipping something to beat her, could you? That was a huge win the other day.
Yeah.
And I thought she had improvement to come in the yard. So
yeah. And she's shown that ability to roll forward too now. So
second favourite for the Caulfield Cup, Queen Air.
There you go. Is she really?
Yeah. Behind Goldman.
There you go. No, she's quality. She showed quality. If you want to go back and have a look at her replays from day dot when she turned up at Geelong and was out the back and had no luck, sort of dashing through, and she's shown quality from day one. That filly.
Ripper card at Bendigo, some good races. So hopefully we can get a result.
I was interested to hear Mick Ken say that the best sire out there at the moment was So You Think, and if you were going to breed a horse, you'd pick him, which is obviously the sire of Elation, Think It Over, and a few of those horses. So yeah, interesting comments. I would have thought.
He's more in that sort of game, isn't he? He's more in the staying sort of, take it easy with his horses and not bust them up early. He doesn't have many 2-year-olds or anything, does he? That's sort of his MO. So a stallion like So You Think would really suit his training style, but I don't imagine he has too many I'm Invincibles or anything in the stable. So
no, fair call. All right, if you want more of Nico's action, $25 a week, you get Wednesdays, Saturdays, and he throws in the odd bonus night meeting. So he crawls around Mornington and Cranbourne nights and all those areas like Pakenham as well. So great value, $25 a week, and if you sign up for longer, you get a better price. So make sure you get his final thoughts via Telegram in the yard for all your Victorian racing needs there. Puntingform.com.au have had a reskin. I've migrated to the new site, so old.puntingform, I've given the lemonade, but puntingform.com.au, the new skin's great, and they've just released the worksheet. So for speed mapping and getting your races correct and putting all your ratings in there, it's now pretty simple. So I can punch through. I could probably get through an entire card in less than sort of 2 hours and sort of navigate my way through a couple of replays and things like that. So make sure you use puntingform.com.au and give them a try, because that's what DK, Nico uses, and myself. So if you're having trouble with it, just shoot them a line. The customer service team or Sugar Shane Baker will give you a tutorial. We absolutely swear by it here. All right, interesting one. We've got Johnny's Best. We've got Walt via Detroit. And I think we can just get a little bit of a graphic. Walt's in Detroit. Is it a bowling tournament? He's at a 90-lane 10-pin bowling alley, and it's -2 degrees. Have a look at how many units are in there at the Masters bowling tournament there with Walt He's got the laptop there set up. He's got the odds display there. He's got the form guide out, and he's sitting there doing the form for I think it's like Newcastle today, and then Randwick on Saturday. And he's in a 90-lane bowling alley with a tournament. Have a look at it. 1980s is called DK.
minus 2 degrees to boot. Oh,
Have you seen like anything like it? He reckons he's too scared to leave the hotel room.
Oh, it's great scenes. Reminds me of the movie. It's a great bowling movie, Kingpin or something like that.
The Big
You haven't
Lebowski.
seen that, Nico? Yeah, was it Kingpin with Woody Harrelson? I think it's Kingpin and Bill Murray or something. Very funny. Very funny. Takes you back to the they're a strange breed, the bowling crew.
I think I'd be one and done. If I went to one of those tournaments, you'd never see me again. I'd either be murdered or I'd never go back again. Disgusting. Some crazy humans that frequent those places, but they could be Walt's men. We'll have a quick look at maybe the market first in a size, and then we'll get Walt's best buy video. Cylinder $2.10. Looks like Nico's framed this market very short. V8 $6. Don Corleone $6.50. Thought he was a pretty good run last start. Weaving through. Brave Mead, Nico's horse $9.50 into $6.50. Empire Japan $19. Mahaba, one of ours as well, $20. Cafe Millennium $20. Bases loaded $26. Butch Cassidy, horse that the boys mentioned before, $31. Militarized $34. Joe Moreira hits town, which is good to see. Strength in the riding ranks, $34. We'll just say, by the by, Tommy Berry, probably a good thing that Walt's away, but he's had his suspension reduced. So I'll tell you, he'd be spinning chips if he's on the show with obviously Walt copping the full face of the law or brunt of the law, and Tommy's sort of getting off lightly, it seems. So he'll be back before spring. But let's hear from Johnny Walter himself via Detroit.
G'day guys, Johnny's Best coming to you from downtown Detroit, where I am hiding in my room, too scared to go outside. Went for a quick walk this afternoon. Not my sort of place, but here I'll be hiding in the bowling alley for the week and hiding in my room doing form. Derby Day Saturday coming up. We're a bit stiff last Saturday. Diamond got a bit of a quiet ride, and I thought the ride on Moutai was just about unforgivable. No clue why he was still looking for cover coming to the bend when they were going 14 lengths below to the 600-metre mark, and he had every chance to sit outside the leader and sort of sprint with him. Second fastest last 200 of the day, and still couldn't reel in a horse that he had every chance to stalk. So a bit stiff Moutai. Thought it was a really tough day Saturday. You got big fields, capacity fields. Really want to know the weather and how everything's sort of playing. Thought the one race that looked to have opportunities in it was the size produce. I think Cylinder's insanely short at $2.20 or whatever it is. Don't think it's any good thing to run 1400. I've gone looking away from the slipper form, just nothing there sort of stood out to me that it was bursting through the line at the end of 1200 metres. Maybe Don Corleone's the one out of that race you probably want to be with, but $6 seems okay. You know, I think it should be closer to favourite. But I thought there was sort of going wider and left field form. You had bases loaded at $41, going to run you a race up on speed. Tough horse that's got a good grounding for this. Stable absolutely flying. Think it'll run 1400, no problem. Obviously has hook form around the slipper winner too. And the other horse that looks big odds is Cafe Millennium. I don't know why everyone's forgotten about that first start win. Obviously a little bit plain last start, but went back to the trials since then and sort of got going through the line. Not a horse that you're ever going to see trialled too flashy, I don't think. So I think he did enough there in the worst part of the track, really revving up late. And if they sort of run along here, you've got bases loaded up on speed. If they overdo it, Cafe Millennium could be coming down the middle at $21. So I think in a tough day there, my two for the day. Good luck, guys.
I mean, he can't help it. He's the loyal. It's like a cult up there, like the PVL, he's top pot. He's around the two favourites, and the next two, the two from down here, the two good horses, are staring at him in the face, the MF, and he's just gone straight past them. Don't even mention them. And go to the two roughies or whatever. You cannot bring himself to tip the Melbourne form up there.
That's like a lot of them up there, though.
That's what I'm saying.
Pen the Melbourne form.
They just pen it.
Jeez, I'll tell you what.
Back in the day when we had Lambourne sort of come on the show for a while, he was always against the Melbourne form, wasn't he? So.
Anyway, I thought V8, while we're on him, V8 and Brave Mead are nice horses.
Yeah, it has to be in the game because he's run 1400. Yeah. Like he won at 1400 last start and absolutely bolted in. So. Of all the types I've seen in Victoria from all the 2-year-olds, he's one of the strongest I've seen. Like he's an absolute beast.
You're the one who's got you. So you've been in Cylinder's corner. You tipped Brave Mead last week. You've tipped Maharaba. You know V8. So you got a good hand. I'd say you'd have a good hand, even though it's up there, Nico.
Yeah, I'd be thinking V8 if he runs up to last start would be right in the finish. I agree with Walt. I don't know if Cylinders, 210 seems extremely short for a horse that he's a big question mark at 1400. Like he wasn't that strong late in the slipper. That Shinzo ran him down. Looked like he had the race shot to bits. 1400 would have to be a worry. Could be the best horse in the race, but that's probably a big question mark.
How has Cylinder been 280 into 210? It should be 210 out to $4 express.
Yeah, I think it's just a case of, the bookies getting them as short as they can right now and seeing who wants to take that short odds. There's no way he starts 210. No,
you see him,
way.
if you sit there and watch them go off, like they just go off at a sniff. A sniff.
TK.
I was watching, they do. I was watching that thing tonight, more or less, right? I thought he'd win tonight, right? And if you're going to ask me to do a race, I was going to tip it, right? So they put up 280. Blink of an eye, it's 250. Then everyone goes up 230. No one's back in the 230. All of a sudden it's evens, right? Then everyone's evens, right? No one's betting. Just going off with the sniff of an oily, absolute peanut. It's just a joke. How they early market the algorithms turn them off. So that's right. That's right, Scott. If it's expressed back to 280, it doesn't mean it. It's just what it is. It's just its right price.
I really think it'll start closer to $4. I had a bit of a look at this race myself, and I think V8's the obvious one out of Melbourne. If he's good enough, looks a real strong bugger. I think 1400 is going to be no worries for him. Gee, Don Corleone was a great run. If you go back through the slipper and you're looking at the two runs, I think Walt's right. I think Don Corleone should be favoured over Cylinder. But I'm not sure that. Sort of just wait and see about the 650. Cafe Millennium's a crazy price. DK. This horse was huge on debut. I think they've given a bit of a quiet one. And John O'Shea, after its debut run, basically said we're not going to take it anywhere near the slipper. Rosehill was never going to suit this horse. This horse is a big, gangly sort of giraffe. I'd love you to put your eye over at DK and tell me what you think. But I know it didn't probably trial that well. But as sort of Walt mentioned, it's not really a horse that is going to trial that well anyway. Like this is, he needs ground, this horse. Bases loaded, I thought, is maybe a bit one pace. And the other horse that is a complete forgive, I thought, was Militarized with Joe Moreira. This horse was great in the Todman. He was one of the best finishers with Cafe Millennium. He just seems to be forgotten by the market. And talk about weird flux. This horse has been $17 out to $34. And last start, he was just tied up with that learning to fly incident in the Golden Slipper. So this horse looks an absolute wildcard here. And Chris Waller wouldn't be persisting with a horse like this if he didn't have a massive opinion about it. So I would have thought Cafe Millennium and Militarized were massive, massive prices and must bets in the size. And yeah, if Cylinder should just start with a 4 in front of its name. And I'm pleased that Nico's finally taken off the Godolphin undies and is happy to hang him out to dry.
I took him off last week and Cascadian beat us. So
well, DK declared it.
Really?
I got reminded
Mr.
of
Brightside, you're around Mr. Brightside, you're around Cascade. I mean, come on. Okay.
it. Straight away I got reminded of it, saying a few people on track that listen to the show saying, Godolphin, Nico, what are you doing? Going against him.
Oh, it's good that they got you pegged, though. Let's have a look at race 7, the TJ Smith. This is absolutely red hot, this race. Gigi Kick $4, $5.50 in, Secret Nature Strip $6, I Wish I Win $9, Private Eye $9.50, Passive Aggressive $10, Marzu $13, Lost and Running $16, Lofty Strike $20, Maramia $31, Overpass $41, Palele $51, Shades of Rose $81, which tells you the quality of the race with those two. Oiler out the gate, Rocketing by 91 and Shelby 66. Oh my God, what is it doing in there? The poor horse. Let's have a quick look at Gigi Kick. I thought this was a real quiet ride here, and I just love the intent that this horse has just setting up for this race. Absolutely dead last and just zooms home. You got Passive Aggressive up in front with Eduardo. They were really suited this day. The rain hit on a Friday afternoon, and it was just the perfect conditions for Passive Aggressive. I think Gigi Kick really suited more so at 1200 than Passive Aggressive. I like that he's been spaced. There's a lot of horses here, like In Secret. This seems like a bit of an afterthought, or she's now going sort of fourth up into this race. I think she's about a 1200 metre horse for sure, but Gigi Kick, there's just so much intent second up here. Nature Strip, I think this has been Chris Waller's target all along. I wouldn't be surprised if he performs better. I don't know if I could lay him the place, But I think that Lightning Stakes was a bit of a hit out. He's big on history, Chris Waller. He'll just want to see that make him a 4-time winner of this race. I wish I win. I think he did nothing wrong. It was probably just a poor ride last time. Luke Nolan sticks, which is a concern. Private Eye, cracking run in the Newmarket as well. So that was just a pipe opener for this. And then you've got a horse like Lofty Strike, who, again, I don't know that Craig Newitt's done much wrong on him, but he definitely looks like a horse capable of hitting the line if everything pans out. But it's going to be funny. It's going to be Giggy Kick in Secret and Lofty Strike and I Wish I Win. There's sort of just going to be like an Indian line, I think, out wide off the track. And I think Giggy Kick's going to be definitely the one that I want to follow here. And I thought that Giggy Kick and Private Eye were the two most likely to win this race, clearly targeted at it. And a few of these other ones, I just think they might just lack the freshness and ping to sort of win this race. But definitely a race with lots of chances. But that was definitely the way I sort of saw it panning out. But Nico, have you got any different thoughts there?
No, not really, to be honest. Like the fan in me would love to see Nature Strip win 4 in a row. I think that'd be a great sort of
be a sensation
story for racing,
especially with his back to the wall a bit. You know, I reckon how good would that be if he wins on the big day up there?
Yeah, but I don't necessarily want to back him and part with my money, but it'd be a good story if he did it. I think the horse, and the horse I would want to back is a Gear Kick at $4. That first up run was huge. Come home, like 17.5 lengths above his last 600 on punting form. So not many horses, if they do that, they usually go like 20 below and just squirt home, don't they? But they didn't go that slow in that race. Like it wasn't like a trial like you see in a few others where they run those figures. So huge turn of foot. Purton, like Williams to Purton's no knock, is it? If he's sweet, apparently he's crook. So
Purton,
you'd think he'd be doing everything to get off his deathbed if he's on it or something like that to be riding a horse like this, wouldn't you? Like in a TJ, he'd be doing absolutely everything to get sweet for the day. But hopefully he's all good. I think in Secret's probably the bit of the risk. Like her two best runs are probably at Flemington. She's much better suited on the handicap condition than Wait for Age here. 4th up now. I agree. She probably just doesn't have the freshness of a few others, and she ran a huge figure last start. Like if she can replicate that performance here, she'll probably win. It's just, I think she probably has to rate down given she's 4th up and probably not as suited at the weight scale.
That's right. Those light weights really kicked in the Newmarket, didn't they, with her and Lofty Strike accelerating the way they did.
Yeah, I think I Wish I Win can improve here, 3rd up. At the high pressure in the Newmarket last start. The Lightning wasn't as high pressure as that, and he probably looked a bit better, but that was his first real exposure to this high pressure at 1,200 metres. I think he'll be better for it, so I think he'll be a back marker that's right in play late. I was probably looking at him in Giga Kick, and if Nature Strip's in front with 50 to go, and you do your cash to an absolute champion, or you just got to cop it, don't you? Because it's going to be a terrific story if he can win 4 in a row. And I think that's the perfect send off for him, isn't it? If he won 4 in a row,
would be, yeah, wouldn't we? Yeah, absolutely. And that's his. I mean, we love apples to apples as punters, and we're trying to simplify it as much as possible. And that's his track, it's his distance, it's his
full-on race. It's not just his track, and he's won the last 3, and they've been probably his best performances. Bar Royal Ascot, they've been his best performances.
Yeah, I think he's just not the 1,000-metre tempo doesn't suit him as the older horse he is. So.
If he gets his own way out in front, and sort of nothing takes him on, and it's just Nature,
which is some chance of happening
by himself, a big chance of happening. Like he could be a bit.
All those horses poking up inside him, going quick like they were in the Lightning, whatever it was.
Well, you'd think Passive Aggressive is not going to, and Shades of Rose, I think, is in the Quokka or another bigger race to come. So she might be one that's probably not looking to gas herself out here and take him on. So that's the way he wins. He finds uncontrolled and he just has it all his own way. That's probably the way he wins, which could happen, to be honest.
Yep. No, be a great day if he does.
I think apples to apples too. Giggy Kick and Private Eye beat him home, and I think those horses are more so on the upward trajectory as romantic as you want to be. I do think the apples to apples is clearly Giggy Kick and Private Eye, and even Marzu probably wasn't too bad either. But I'm not sure how Barrier 1's going to be. But I think just that Indian running line on the outside, they're all just going to peel off, and it'll just be whoever's feeling the best within themselves. But deep race, and not one that I want to really get tangled up in, but just goes to show, don't have to throw $15 million or $10 million at the race. That is as good a sprint as you'll see anywhere in the world. The TJ Smith, and they're racing for less than the Everest. Let's have a quick look at the AJC Derby. Sharp and Smart's favourite here, $3.50. Pericles is $4. Is that right? $8.50 into $4. Wow. Mark Twain, $7.50. Manzois, $15. Elliptical, $16. Japanese Emperor, $26 into $16. Stroke of Luck, $18 into $17. Angelus is $18. Full of Sincerity, $18. Williamsburg, $31. Virtuous Circle, $31. Zero, $41. Major Bill, $41. Tapple Doodle Doo. Cracker name that one, $51. And that'll about see how the changes. Cheval Savant is an interesting one from the Mar Eustace Yard, $67. The replay that I wanted us to have a look at here was the New Zealand Derby, and you can see Sharp and Smart here hitting the front. He absolutely got the PR. And Angelus is making a searching run in the green, and the horse that I sort of liked here is sort of the jockey's flapping all over it down the outside is Mark Twain. I tell you what, he got sort of snagged back. He wasn't really comfortable. He's probably got to improve his race manners a bit, but he kept finding the line. You see Sharp and Smart's good enough to push through and win. But, I just thought that he had every possible favour, and he sort of sometimes gets the luck in running, and sort of Walt sort of, said on the show a couple of times that he's blessed. But I guess good horses, like Animo, they put themselves in positions to win. But I was interested to hear that Graham Rogerson, he actually sort of half put the coolers on this horse, I thought, during the week, and I think he's still sort of learning his craft, and I think Graham Rogerson still thinks he's maybe a prep away from being at his top, and he might sort of switch off in a little bit in his races, and he's just still learning about what it's all about. And of course, a lot of these horses are, and that's definitely the case for a horse like Mark Twain as well. He's a little bit erratic, hasn't got great race manners. And another horse I thought that was pretty good in the New Zealand Derby there that was running in third in the OTI colours was that Full of Sincerity, and I thought it was a completely forgive run in the Tulloch Stakes last start, but I'm just a little bit worried with a horse like Full of Sincerity. It'll take Damien Lane's best, because it just seems to be a bit of a sort of a one-bat sort of plonker. It's a sort of horse that maybe he'll just find one better than him. He'll stay all day, definitely a 2,400-metre horse, but I just not sure that he's got the killer punches some of these other Kiwi horses. That Angelus had to make a big, long searching run. He ran second in the New Zealand Derby. He gets Zach Purton, so it's a big tick there. And then other horses that sort of interested me was Japanese Emperor, who looked pretty dead last start in the Alistair Clark. I see he's been heavily backed. And I thought Pericles, Nico, I've got massive reservations about this horse running a strong 2,400, and I've sort of got him pegged as sort of a 1,600, 2,000 metre horse sort of tops. I'm not sure what your line of thinking, or if you're going to start throwing an uppercut at me, or...
No, I think that's fair enough. Like, you saw he's running the Moonee Valley Vars, where he loomed up on the corner. It looked like he's going to win by 3 or 4, and then Berkeley Square kicked back to beat him. That form sort of you can tie into Sharp and Smart, given Berkeley Square, I think, started near favourite in that derby, so you can definitely tie him in. And then Pericles went to that derby and was probably just over the top. He backed up 3 weeks in a row for that run. But I think that run in the Vars and then the run in the Rosehill Guineas, where he looked like he had the race shot to bits and couldn't get past Lindemann, they're probably worrying signs for him up in trip. 850 to 4 seems a weird move. You'd probably be wanting to lay him at $4. I'm Team Kiwis as well. I think a Kiwi will win it. I'm Sharp and Smart to beat Mark Twain. I think Sharp and Smart is one of our next weight for age horses. I reckon he could be one of our next weight for age stars. This horse is absolute line finder. He's only real one poor run on the form card where he ran 4th. He probably should have won the JJ Atkins, and everything else he's either pretty much won or run 2nd. So he just finds the line, just gets the job done. He reminds me a bit of Animo in that sense. Like, he just doesn't really kill his rivals. He just gets the job done. That's what he did all spring. That's what he did last start, and I think that's what he'll do here. Huey Bowman just keeps him out of trouble from 17. You'd probably like the fence to be off for him or something like that, where getting down the middle is a big tick like it was on this sort of day last year. So I think you'll probably get $4, and he seems a good bet. And I thought Mark Twain's a big danger. Full of Sincerity, Stroke of Luck you can make cases for, but I'd be Sharp and Smart Mark Twain.
DK, you got any thoughts about any of these young wild race horses?
No, I didn't get around to this race, Scoot, so no, defer to Nico there.
If you just take that New Zealand Derby run alone, barrier 17, he had everything in his favour, and he didn't really put that field away. So Huey's got a big job in his hands there from barrier 17, and I'd just love to see Kieran McAvoy put Mark Twain into the race from barrier 5, because he did look a horse that sort of like to get on the chewy. So I think he could settle a little bit closer, and they might catch this horse, Mark Twain. And if he doesn't win on Saturday, Mark Twain, I'll be following his horse to the Queensland Derby. He might just be just a bit too raw and a bit too new to it all. He might throw the race away, but I don't know if anyone's got to mark it up, but I'd nearly expect this horse in the Queensland Derby as well. This Mark Twain from my spies in New Zealand. They're telling me that he's a big chance to keep pushing further north if he doesn't win on Saturday. So not sure if you get any spoil there, but if you can just find the market, please shoot us a message and I'll probably spear in with you. All right, I've sort of stolen Johnny's thunder there a little bit. He'll no doubt send me a message saying you've brushed me for doing a couple of Sydney races. He hates it. He hates it if we give anyone the Sydney reins. So make sure you head to racingwatch.com.au if you want more of Johnny's stuff in the Telegram or in the Discord channel. He's absolutely crackers. He's in Detroit playing 10-pin bowling. So that tells you what sort of character he is. And he's still doing the form over there. So he's absolutely mental, our man Johnny. But doesn't leave a stone unturned like the other boys on the show. All right, now it's time to look north and hear from our man Donny for Donny's best.
Morning, gents. Good to get the moral home last weekend. Started around 3:20, so I hope a couple of listeners had an absolute fill-up like I did. It's tougher this weekend. Randwick, Doncaster Day, an absolute epic. Looks really tricky day. Doomben, there's not much talent there, so there won't be many bets there. The best bet will come up in race 10 at Randwick. DK, strap yourself in. It's number 14. It had to be Zoo, paying $41 a win, $7.50 a place. I think it's tremendously over the odds. It's had 3 runs at Canterbury this preparation. It's racing like a new horse. It's 1-2, narrowly missed in its latest one against a smart horse called Kazoo. To get back style doesn't really suit Canterbury. Bigger track at Randwick will suit it down to the ground. Moisture in the ground, they'll be getting wide. The middle draw helps. It's had a beautiful tick-over trial. The ratings are really strong for a $41 chance. I think it's going to start shorter and it should go close. Fingers crossed, because I'll be chips in. So it comes up in race 10, number 14. It had to be Zoo, 41 to 750. The other best bet comes up in Doomben. It's in race 8, number 6, Manhood. It was gelded over the break. First up win was extremely strong. It runs strong early fractions and can break our horses' hearts. The 3 favourites next in line, they're all pretty weak animals. I think if this can get to the front or sit OSL, it should be able to run them into the ground. 225 with TopSport, there is better getting around. So maybe we'll just play Top Fluck late. So the 2 best bets are race 10, number 40, had to be Zoo at Randwick, and race 8, number 6, Manhood at Doomben on Saturday. Good luck. Go well, gents.
And I think Manhood should keep improving, and I think that's a great bet. But he might have had a couple too many beers when he was tipping this one. It had to be Zoo. I'm not sure about this one, Nico. It's got Opal Ridge, Parasol, Magic Time to get past. That looks a super deep race.
It's a bit of Walt pricing, isn't it? $41 morals, according to
Donny can't knock the confidence. Like, straight off the bat, the best bet is. Hey, I thought it'd be the Manhood. And then he's gone, no, 41 this. So good on it. I'll be cheering hard for it.
We'll have to.
So it takes some courage to go get out and say, this. I'm really keen on this at 40s. You know, so who cares at 40s whether it can? Of course, it's going to have 5 and 6 in the market out of it. You know, but he obviously knows the horse, and give it strength. Maybe everyone's quaddies at least. I would think you can't put it not in the quaddie now. Got to go in. That's who everyone wants. So you want a result in the last leg. Throw Donny's thing in the quaddie at least.
All right, let's have a look at TopSport Steamers. As I said last week, $508 sparkle. So anyone that was still believing in the TopSport Steam, they finally got a breakthrough. This week we've got a couple of crackers. The first one might be DK or Nico's. Race 6, number 4V8, $625 at $9. So the boys are saying the MF might bob up, and we've definitely got the slow at the price on cylinder. So that looks like a good little ticket to hold. The next one is race 7, number 15, In Secret, 1,000 at $6. Tell you what, Dean Holland rode that horse absolutely perfectly in the Newmarket, I thought, and just had no petrol left on the line. So I think it was just as good a ride as it was a performance for that one.
Really?
So
you think?
I think he did. Yeah.
I think Jay Dirtillis could have won on it.
Sit and steer, was it?
I think it was 50 kilos, whatever it had. He's had to steer it. Anyway, he had to get the job done. So well done, Dean. I'm not potting, but I thought, gee whiz,
Race 8, number 16, Zagotia. This could be my bet, 1,000 at $11. Love the setup for Chris Waller here. And I deliberately, when I saw that one, I thought, we'll just talk about the Doncaster in the last little piece of the Steamers. Zagotia, I think that's a great bet. I think she'll start shorter than $11, even though she's been 8 to 11 now. She's just bypassed a lot of these big races. And gets here with 50.5 kilos. So she puts herself into the race and's got some serious X factor, this horse. The last one here is Bendigo Race 4, number 7, and it is Sing for Peace, 4,000 at $2.60. So Nico's just going to slide that straight under the Doona cover.
It's a big crack early, considering
This.
Hey?
into 230 now. Maybe it doesn't get any longer. I would have thought you might get 260 on the day, just with the way these markets sort of go with the favourites. But no, I can't knock the horse in terms of ability. I think he's got stacks of ability. It's just his racecraft isn't that good at the moment. He probably doesn't have a jockey that's, if you have Billy Egan or Nashra Willow or someone that could get him through that flat spot, probably a bit better than potentially Talia can. But she has had the ride on him last start, so she's acquainted with the horse, and maybe that's a big tick for some punters. But I think he's a tricky horse to really want to steam into, given his racing manners at the moment.
I'm just looking at the time conversion, so it'll be around sort of 6:30, 7 o'clock next week. So Walt and I will try and do the show and do it with you boys, because we're still doing lots of form, and that's the best thing about having tools like Punting Form and all the databases and keeping your head in it. It's a working holiday for me, so we'll try and do the show next Thursday, but the super sub might have to be you, Nico, so we might have to get you to host the show. But hopefully we've all had a fill-up. It was a great result for all the punters and all the followers of the show last week, so well done, boys. You're doing a good job back in the cold. And if you want to follow us for the US Masters Punters Club as well, there might be a graphic up on the screen now. Nick Tedeschi's going to steer it. And as I said earlier in the show, you can buy a share, $50 to $1,000. So if you just want to watch all the golf and bet over the 4 days, Nick Tedeschi and a couple of boys in Melbourne will be steering this one. So we'll be betting on the Masters win market, the exotics, some 2 balls, 3 balls, some match-up, who's going to make the cut, who's going to finish top 10 and top 20. So we'll be betting it all. Will be via the app, so you can follow the bets in sort of real time. So I think there's going to be a couple of key golfers that we'll target. Might back an Aussie. I see Jason Day's been hundreds in, so it's going to be a great betting tournament. It's good to see the live golfers back in the mix at Augusta, and it's great that TopSport.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, they're
So
back playing.
Cam Smith and all that'll be there.
Cam and DJ and
Good.
all the big golfers will be there from the Live Tour. And, of course, John Walter, he won the Master Punter tournament thanks to TopSport. And also our lucky raffle winner, which is Jeremy Scott. So he's got the $100 ticket to go over to Augusta. So it's going to be a beauty. We're going to do a golf podcast next Tuesday. So we're going to do that live from Augusta. Hopefully they let us on course, and we'll just film it by the 12th hole there. I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll definitely do the show, do the preview, and put all the bets through the Punters Club as well. So make sure you stay tuned, and hopefully we can get some sort of out wide footage and post it on our social channels that's G or PG rated. It's going to be a big 7 days, and shame you couldn't join us, DK.
It is, yeah. Yeah, I was 1,000,000 to 1, but still a shame.
All right, thanks, guys. Good luck on the weekend, and hope you back plenty of winners. Make sure you follow Nico's Mounting Yard Mail. And what was that horse that you liked tonight, DK?
Moya Lass in the first. So maybe start your weekend if this again. The punters are the early watchers of the show. But that was good last week. I had a mate at the footy club said, I got the Little Birdie email because I was out for beers with the mates on Thursday night, and we saw you were tipping one. We all backed it. So that's the stuff you want to hear. So if you get this early, I think Moya Lass would win the first tonight to start your weekend multis. Or it's short but sweet. But it should be winning. Bloody hell. Ran behind Revolutionary Miss and all that thing.
Huge run last time.
Yeah. And it was a huge run behind Gringotts and El Solido. So we'll stick with that form. It ran third to El Solido and Gringotts. So but that form's better than anything else in that race tonight.
$2.50 into 160 at TopSport.
160? What?
Right.
It was $2.20 this morning when I left home at 7 or 8 o'clock. I said, they're going to be 160.
Well, Nico's just sitting there and he's just punched a $5,000 bet through.
160. No, I don't tip $1.60 chances. I'm sorry. Maybe if it drifts out late, but no, I'm not that desperate to tip $1.60 chances.
Throw it in your multi, and we'll see you next week. Good luck on the weekend. Thanks, guys.